Okay, a game to start the season against Hull, and we're thinking, yeah, decent start to the season, get a bit of confidence maybe. But yeah, that was a disaster. That was really really bad yesterday from Man United. 2-0 loss against Hull, and in all honesty, there were a lot of worrying signs in different ways throughout this game, man. You don't want to go overboard, right, and panic uh, in the first game of the season, and I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But what I would say about yesterday is a few of my initial worries about what certain partnerships will look like in our lineup. A few of them already showed themselves yesterday. All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. Let's look here on the left of this pitch. We've got the starting lineup from yesterday, right? So Lammers, Mazraoui, Maguire, Heaven, Shaw, as a back four. And I'll start with that before we get into the rest of the team. I don't think we were terrible defensively. I mean, the 2 goals that we conceded were both from set pieces, right?
Yep.
When I say defensively, I mean the defense, as in the players in the defense. I don't think individually they were like terrible or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of the issues came more from out of possession issues throughout the team in terms of the balance, right?
Yeah.
But what I will say is this is not Manchester United's best defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, when they hear me say that, will think I'm talking about Shaw, because we've been linked with a left back all summer, and Mazraoui, right? Mazraoui, he didn't play well yesterday. I will say that. But overall, he's relatively consistent, in my opinion. And Dallo also has his own deficiencies, right? Right. I think with them, you play them depending on the game, right? I
Yeah.
think what
Yeah.
Dallo gives you is pace, physicality, a bit more, running vertically. Mazraoui is better 1v1 defender. Generally, I'd say he's a bit smarter with his passing, building up from the back, right? Do you agree with all that?
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. But my issue is the centre backs,
Mm-hmm.
Maguire and Heaven, right? And let's start with Heaven. Aiden Heaven, I see a lot of Man U fans really bigging him up over the last 6 months or so, and I
No,
like
it's
that.
been long. I think it's been longer than that. I think it's
Yeah,
been. It was when Amrin was coaching. The guys thought, "Oh yeah, we've got a new star on our hands here." That's what a lot of fans. I would hear that on a lot of the channels.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I do think that he has talent. Um, for a 19-year-old centre back to be
Mm-hmm.
at the level to start regularly for Manchester United, which I think a lot of people want him to, you would have to be a truly exceptional, special talent, and I just don't think he is that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he is. I don't think as a defender he looks special in any particular way. I think he's physically okay, just about fast enough, but 1v1 you can constantly get at him. I think if he had a loan spell, or if he was, you know, if we were a bit more patient with his development, then I could see in the long term him growing into being a reliable Premier League centre back, right?
Yeah.
But the talk about him starting over Martinez is ridiculous. Heaven is not better than Martinez in any way. Martinez offers more on the ball because he's special on the ball, even though, that is Heaven's strength as well, being on the ball, with his quality in terms of driving on the ball and passing. I'd say that's probably his biggest skill set. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Martinez is one of the best in the world. like on the ball, I would literally say he might be the best centre back in the world, and he's more experienced. He makes smarter decisions, and this is not. I don't want to make this, about heaven. Firstly, especially when there's so much more to talk about in this game.
Yeah,
but I think it's just annoyed me so much seeing Man U fans disrespecting Martinez and thinking that Heaven can step in and just do his job immediately.
Another thing I want to say about Aiden Heaven is that on the ball, in terms of his attributes on the ball, it's not necessarily him. Like, you give him the ball under pressure. It's not. That's not. I don't. That's not. I mean, he's good, but yesterday I could see I don't know if it was his awareness or his peripheral or his vision, but there was a couple of times where they were able to, like, he did. I don't think he really knew what was going on around him. Like, his awareness was not there. Maybe with the pressure of the day, but there was times where I could see there was a lack of focus there. For me, for somebody whose best attribute is on the ball, that was a bit of a worry for me.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of signs of that, to be honest, since he started playing, and that's what you'd expect. This is why I don't. This is not an issue with him. It's an issue with elevating his position in the squad so early when he's just not ready.
He's not ready. He's not ready, man.
Yeah,
but you can see there's a decent player, but he's just right now he's not at the level required to be started in for Man United in the Prem.
Exactly. And next to him you have Maguire, and I guess the thinking is, Maguire's been starting since Carrick took over. Firstly, so he clearly does like him. Maguire has a lot of qualities to him. He always has, and he's not someone who I think age is a factor we need to think too much about, because I don't think it was never the quickest. I think that's fine. I think the thing is with Maguire, he's not a top centre back. He's not. He's got deficiencies, and we've known about these deficiencies this whole time. You can work to protect them, right?
Yeah.
To limit the amount of mistakes he has to make, to limit how much time he has to spend running, basically running, sprinting. The high line. All these things are coming to your brain when you're thinking about putting Maguire into the team, and it's simply not worth it, in my opinion. Right? This is the first issue that we need to rectify. And for me, it's quite simple. Get these guys out of the 11 and swap them with these two for now. Right?
Yep.
Now, Martinez already talked about how much I love him. I think he's our second most important player after Kobe Mainoo, who I'm going to come on to. And I know a lot of people will talk about Bruno. We'll get onto that. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But I think this balance here of Euro and Martinez is the best we have right now, while De Ligt has his injury issues.
Yeah.
Right? We can't trust De Ligt. We can't put all our eggs into that basket of hoping that he's going to return to his best soon. We just need to be slow and patient, and hopefully he does, right?
Yeah.
But Euro, he's a year older than Aiden Heaven, right? So, you might think, oh, you're talking about playing a young centre-back and now you're saying play Rojo. Rojo, for me, is a more talented defender. It's as simple as that.
Who?
Euro. He's a more talented defender than Aiden Heaven.
It sounded like you're saying Rojo.
Oh, PTSD, man.
Euro. And sometimes you listen to the channel. I'm just listening online to what people are saying, and I think the consensus is that Heaven is a better defender than Euro. Like, most people believe that Heaven is more ready. They always talk about Euro with a question mark, and for me, it's a bit crazy. I mean, me watching the matches, it's a bit interesting that people have that kind of belief about these players. But anyway, like you were saying,
I think it comes from that period under Amorim where Euro's moves. I think Euro found it difficult playing on the right of the back three at times with Amorim, because it's just not, he was into zones where it wasn't. Maybe he wasn't used to, but it wasn't great, right? And Heaven would play in the center of the back three a lot of the time, and Amorim seemed to favor him, right? I think firstly, you're changing the context of how the team is asked to set up, right? When you're going from a back three to a back four, it's very different. First, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a back two. I think he's just more comfortable. He's just got more. He can cover ground, right?
Yeah.
And make tackles, consistently in a successful manner. Whereas Heaven, he's constantly unsure. I feel like, and I feel like that's not just the mental side. I think it's just more of a okay. Euro has those long legs, that ability to. I wouldn't go as far as say Wan-Bissaka, but that ability to make those tackles that you're like, okay,
Yeah.
wow, really, really impressive, right?
The way I'll put it is, I think Euro just has more confidence in his ability to defend than Heaven. Like Euro is more aware of his body. He knows his reach. He knows the space he can allow forwards. He's like, if you look at the preseason games when he was playing right back, you can see when it comes to getting past Euro, he kind of knows his, like you say with the Wan-Bissaka thing. He knows his distance, whereas I don't think Heaven is aware of his distances yet. He doesn't really know how close or how much he should step away from defenders.
And when you
I
hear
think,
that Heaven has only been playing as a defender for about 3 years now, because it was exactly, it makes perfect sense. It was his last year in the Arsenal academy where
Mertesacker told it.
his mum was talking about that recently. And I just think Euro needs regular games in this Man United side, and I think him next to Martinez consistently over the course of this season will produce better performances than Maguire and Heaven will. It's quite simple, right? The level that partnership can reach is a level that can challenge the top teams in the Premier League and Europe.
Yeah,
in my opinion, right? So those changes first, but that wasn't the main issue yesterday.
No.
Let's get into the rest of this team, the front six, right? And yeah, right. Okay. I want to start with Dorgu, not to pick on him, but again, it's a similar thing here where he's being thrown into a situation that it's probably quite harsh on him to judge him being a winger for Man United when he just doesn't have the skill set for it.
Yeah.
All right. And those first couple of games for Carrick, where we faced Arsenal and City, he played really well in those games. But what he was being asked to do was a very limited role on the ball, right? He was there doubling up, helping Shaw, winning fouls on the left wing when he drifted inside, but just being positionally, giving some extra support for the midfielders, essentially, right? And that is quite important when you've got someone like Bruno at number 10, right? Why? Why do I say that? Now, Bruno Fernandes is a player. Obviously, many fans love him. He's a club captain. We all know what he's good at as well, right? His ball striking.
He's got great instincts in and around the box.
Right? Yeah,
he has a very good awareness of where his teammates are.
Yeah,
but I think anyways, it's when he's close to the box.
Exactly. If there's a chance for him to make a pass or just create any opportunity, and if there's less than half a second in it, he's gonna try. He's gonna see something that someone else won't see.
And right? I think I'd say he's probably one of the best at that kind of play. I don't think there's many players very close to him.
Without a doubt. But you also have to understand with Bruno what he's not so good at, right? And one of those things is receiving the ball in this position, in the number 10 position, while he's under pressure. I think as a number 10, if we're looking at, most of the players that would be asked to play in that position in the Premier League and in any top club, he's definitely the worst at that. I generally think he's really bad at it.
He ranks of all the let's say if there's 20 teams playing number 10s, you'd say he's number 20 at receiving the ball under pressure.
Yes, anywhere on the pitch really, but under pressure, exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's a big shout, but
what that does, right, is create a lot of things you have to talk about. Not necessarily going forward, yes, but a lot of the time the issue is defensive, right? Because what it means is you are kind of setting yourself up to play a transition game, a game where you're not going to be able to sustain pressure a lot of the time unless the situations around him. So when I say the situation, as in the wide players next to him, the striker in front of him, and the midfielders behind him, all those players that are closest to him, unless they have the skill set to allow for his weaknesses to be masked.
Oh,
right?
okay. Can I quickly?
Yeah.
I want to make up this point. Yes, I watched Arsenal against Coventry on Friday. I don't watch the whole game, but I watched most of the game. And this is the thing the comparison I've been making about Bruno and Odegaard for the last few years. The thing that Odegaard can do that Bruno cannot do. Of course, Odegaard is not as trigger happy as Bruno. Like Odegaard doesn't let the ball go. He's not a big risk taker. But the thing that Odegaard does, he allows you to create sustained pressure in the other team's box. He doesn't lose the ball. He can take the ball under any situation, and he's very confident. He's confident he can hold on to it. He can move it on. He'll find the right pass, and he'll keep moving as well. Whereas, I think I don't know. I don't want to take any shots at anybody, but the goal and assist brigade, the people that talk about goals and assists. I mean, I think when you watch them and you compare them, I think there's a big that. I think that can kind of settle the debate and how important is a goal and assist versus somebody who can actually help keep pressure against defensive. Anyway, continue what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and he's the perfect guy to compare Bruno to, I think, in terms of the two extremes, because he's so comfortable under pressure, getting the ball under pressure. He will turn, and a lot of the time, there may be Arsenal fans that get frustrated that he doesn't make that early release, make that pass, whereas you watch the highlights and you see Bruno constantly making that, right? So if you do manage to get the other team penned in, or there's space for him where he doesn't have to be under pressure constantly when he's received the ball, so he gets to receive the ball in space. If those situations are there, then Bruno, perfect. You probably prefer him to Odegaard in those situations.
Of course.
But if you don't have that situation, then Odegaard is going to be more valuable in helping you consistently create chances, right? As a team. This is the thing. And this is where, looking at an individual's creative numbers versus the team as a whole, this is where you can get yourself into a bit of trouble, right? Now, the reason this was an issue in this game today, and I bring up Bruno, is because the two guys behind him, Andre Santos and Tielemans, they are two players who I would say their best skills are passing forward, right, from deep, right? They're both passing players, I would say. I think Andre Santos breaks the line from deep for fun. Right?
Exactly. Like he's between the lines, he's launching it off. And you need somebody ahead of Andre Santos. Sorry for interrupting, but you need somebody.
Get into it, because this is it.
Yeah, because Santos is the kind of guy, when you've got a guy like Odegaard, or you've got guys that are easy pirouette, you give them the ball, quick turn, face of the fence. That's the kind of guy that would thrive under Andre Santos. But if Bruno, firing the ball into Bruno when there's defenders behind him, midfielders around him, he's not going to take the chance. He's going to probably give the ball back to you. He's going to, he's going to make a safe pass. He's not going to take any risk. And I think Tielemans again had a similar thing where he was looking to break the lines and get passes into. I want to make this quick thing. I think some of the guys that came to United, I think they might have had preconceived ideas about the player that Bruno Fernandes is. I mean, because the way he's spoken about, and he's a very polarizing player, but in the media, especially by Man United fans, he's spoken about as one of the best players to be playing football right now. But the problem is, we're talking about his limitations. He can't do everything, and I think based on the way I mean, obviously, it's going to come with time. With time, the guys are going to start to understand more. Okay, this is the things that Bruno is not very good at. This is the things that we can help him. We can help him if we play like this. But based on yesterday, I think they were trying, and I think they were trying to put. They were trying hard, but they were putting the other players in positions where they weren't really. And I think it's going to be a big learning curve, But I think these players are good enough, and they're going to learn, and they're going to see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I definitely saw that. I think there's a disconnect
Mm-hmm.
going on mentally, maybe with Tielemans especially.
Yeah.
Um, and I think he really struggled in terms of making his decision. And I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe he was unfit as well, but he just seemed like he was a second behind with his thinking. A second, maybe because he at times also didn't feel like there was an option to pass into, right? And
Yeah.
there's ways you can get around this when you have a number 10 who's more like a Bruno profile, right?
Yeah.
Now, one way would be to have a number 9 who was so good at hold up play, like a
Yeah.
Drogba type,
Yeah.
right? That you barely have to give the ball straight into Bruno's feet under pressure, and then constantly they're just the Bruno type is just drifting around,
Mm-hmm.
drifting into space, and can just get the ball off. A lot of the time they're getting
Yeah.
the ball off that number 9 with their back to goal,
Yeah.
right? With the number 9's back to goal, to make that clear.
I think he'd really thrive in that role. But
Right,
anyway, yeah.
exactly. But we don't have that, and especially, well, the closest we have to that is Sesko, right?
Mm.
But he wasn't fit yesterday, and I still don't think that's his like complete game. But he's probably the best number 9 we have at that. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, no, the other guy we have is Xerxes, who I
Yeah.
think that is his game. But I think that's his whole game, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which, in terms of he's not going to do much else for you on the football pitch. He's not
Mm-hmm.
gonna. He don't have the pace to like run past players. He's not like the best in the box necessarily. But yeah, for that very specific role, he could maybe help. But then I think the reason I don't want to bring up Xerxes is more because I feel like for him to be in the team, you then need perfect. You need a perfect situation in other areas in terms of your wide players, in terms of a lot of things. So
Yeah.
I personally don't want him to stay at the club. I think he's someone we should move on. So we had Cunha up front, and Cunha was drifting into the number 10 positions,
Yeah.
just as you would expect, because that's his natural game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a number 9, a pure number 9 that stays in the box, occupies defenders, anything like that. No. So who are you passing to if you're Santos or Tielemans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you passing to? And what happens then is you get.
We didn't speak about Mbomo as well.
Yeah. I mean, okay. Okay, let me get onto it. Let me
Okay.
Because with Santos and Tielemans, what I want to mention is because you don't have that option to pass into someone who is going to hold on to the ball, further up the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a lot of transitions. We're gonna be losing the ball constantly. It's just how it's going to work, right?
Yeah.
And then now you've got 2 central midfielders that are relatively slow. We don't have the capabilities to match a high energy team like Hull were yesterday, who are very impressed with the physicality of a lot of their players, Slater and that, guys I hadn't watched much in all honesty, but that's gonna be a way they can match us or have an advantage over us and physically, right? Because in general we're gonna have greater levels of technical ability than a Hull side, right? And that was made clear because when we're losing the ball constantly, they could take advantage of that. They're winning the second balls, all of that stuff. And it's not because of a lack of effort. I've already seen a few Man U fans talk about that online, a lack of effort. No. So don't start, giving, don't start painting these guys with the same brush you painted all these past United players that suddenly they join Man United, they don't care anymore. No, it's not that.
It's very irritating. For me, I think it's just it's like you don't know what's going on. You can't really tell. So that's the first thing you go to, like, it must be that because I can't bother to study the game and understand what's going on. I'm just gonna put it towards that's a bit harsh, but it's like the first thing. Like, no, come on, man. There's way more to it than that.
Exactly. So all that leads me to say, thinking all about that, thinking about the profiles of all these players together, I will be very surprised if we at Premier League level can play Andre Santos, Yuri Tielemans, and Bruno Fernandes together regularly. I think that's a big ask, right? So that means if Bruno's playing, and I'm going to start with that scenario because Let's be real. He's, player of the year from last season, captain of the club. He's, he arguably should be playing anyway, right? I don't think you can play him and Tielemans together in any of the bigger games, firstly. And if even against the smaller teams, the only scenario I can maybe see it working a little bit better is maybe if you have like a Baleba. Yeah, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, just because of his pace, ball recovery. But even still, I don't think that's the most efficient way to plan, because you're still not in control of games in this scenario that I'm helping. You just got an extra player to help clean up, but it's not going to help you in control. So more important would be to replace Tielemans. And Tielemans to kind of just be in a squad player role as long as Bruno Fernandes is a starter. And I think that's just going to have to be how it is. It's as simple as that, right? Yeah. Because the difference in Kobbie Mainoo is he's very good defensively compared to Tielemans. Like people will talk about, sometimes it looks like he's not moving the quickest or things like that. I think sometimes people get style or like posture mixed up with
body language.
Yeah, body language, exactly. Like they let that get into their minds way too much. Also they do the same with Marcus Rashford, who we're about to come on to. But these two as a partnership is going to work way better. Andre Santos having Mainoo, firstly they're both very intelligent, but they're good at both sides of the game. They're more compared to Tielemans, who's going to need somebody, to do a lot of running for him, just be winnable. Maybe like an Ndidi at Leicester or like a Kamara.
Onana. Yeah. One of those guys, yeah.
And you see, those teams, they weren't dominating games, right? He wasn't in teams there where the expectation was to be controlling against most teams in the league. I think that's what we're trying to build towards. If we're trying to be competing, we're actually winning titles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And the only way I can see that happening, firstly, Kobbie Mainoo has to play. He's our most important player.
Yeah.
He's so good under pressure that it kind of counteracts what Bruno's deficiencies are. Yeah. Right? I think so many times last season, I'd watch him do something that would just blow my mind. And I'm like, you guys aren't realizing how much he had to do there because he, in his mind, thought, okay, I'm not going to want to pass it into Bruno's feet here while he's under pressure, right? And he's okay with that because he's going to change direction. He's going to slow it down. He's going to,
And I think he gives Bruno the confidence to make those. He gives Bruno the confidence to wander around in the striker and have around the box. And and this, I think, yesterday we missed that a lot.
Okay, so now if we go into the attack, right? We have Dorgu on the left and Buemo on the right and Cunha up front, with Fernandes, of course, as the number 10, right? And it wasn't the best, I would say. I have concerns with each of the attackers. Dorgu, I don't think he's a winger, right?
Yeah.
And we mentioned that already. And Buemo, funnily enough, I think since Carrick has come over and has come to the club, I think he's been better when he's been in the central areas, so when he's played up front. He's actually linked well with Bruno in some of those games, especially when we're playing on the counter-attack. But on the right, he does struggle to beat his man regularly.
I think Mbeumo, he's somebody. If you look at our attack for yesterday, I wouldn't say we have any ball carriers or any guys you can give the ball to, and they would have like Cunha. He's not bad on the ball, but for me he's somebody he doesn't look up. As soon as he gets the ball, he has his head down and he's racing towards the ball. He doesn't take his time. On Mbeumo, like you say, he's not really. I don't think he's dribbling is technical enough to beat his guy. I think he's somebody that needs to be getting in behind.
Yeah,
you know.
Sure. Yeah. So he should be someone who you're playing off like a striker, and then
Yeah.
he gets to run beyond that striker.
Yeah.
I agree. And then I guess that brings us on to the changes that happened during the game. So we had Rashford coming at halftime for Dogu, which was needed. And I think Rashford did play pretty well.
Yep.
He was dangerous at least. You know, he was. I don't know if I'm just comparing him to Dogu, and that's why I'm saying that. But you know, he offered the most danger out of any of our attacking players during the game, for sure. And he, for me, is a nailed-on star this season. It's quite simply because we don't have another good left winger. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
I've been shocked by how many Man U fans haven't had him in their lineup.
Yeah, you know, man. Yeah, there's issues with his behavior or whatever things he's said in the past. Well, I don't know. Yeah, for me, we don't have a left winger that can play as good as Rashford. Like again, Cunha is somebody. I just feel like I don't know how he's made it to this level without being able to look up and spot his teammates running. Like when he's on the end of it, I guess he's not too bad. But yeah, Cunha for me is not a left winger. Dorgu's not a left winger. The only guy I would say is comfortable in our team who can play there comfortably is Rashford.
Your point on Cunha, I agree, and it's why in my head I've been thinking, okay, maybe because of that, he'll be most useful for us as a striker because then it's almost like you can kind of just play a bit more of instinct, and you know, you're the last man, right? So you're not as worried about, or it's not as important to the team, you keeping your head up at all times and always being aware of all the options around you, right? The deeper you are, the more it affects the team. But the issue in terms of him with Bruno is that it's more like you have two number 10s. And especially when we're up against back threes, like we were against Hull yesterday, that makes it quite easy for their defenders. Because then they've got a back three that's not really defending anyone that's tight. And it's not like they have to worry about a threat in behind either. Right? There's no real pace there. And especially then, if your wide players are not able to isolate their wide centre backs, right, and get 1v1, then it's very, very comfortable for them. So, and that's what it felt like a lot of the time yesterday against Hull. So it's just, maybe there are certain games, Cunha up front might be a solution. Cunha off to the left, I agree with you. That would only work if we had a left back who was just like so physically dominant and you know, special that he could dominate the whole left flank like a Nuno Mendes, right? We have been linked with Balde from Barcelona. I do think he probably has those traits in terms of how quick he is, and when he's at his best, he really can be a bit of a cheat code on the left as well. But I wouldn't want to be completely reliant on that. So yeah, that does present a bit of an issue with Cunha because his best role in our team would probably be as a number 10. So, and that's probably not going to happen much. So yeah, I think for me, the best chance we've got of success going forward is if we replace Mbemo and Cunha with Sesko and Ahmad.
Is Sesko fit right now? Was he fit for the game?
So he came on.
He
with like 15 minutes to go. He only started training this week. He hasn't had a preseason, of course. So you know, they did look a bit rusty, and well, you know, you can't expect too much right now. I mean, I'm guessing he won't be ready to start next week, however. But over the course of the season, he solves the most issues that we have in terms of what I described with Bruno, with the midfield, and connecting with the rest of the team, right? So the way I see it, Sesko is our best striker, ignoring Xerxes, at that playing with the back to goal, leading touches off for Bruno, right? So if we have a bit more control in midfield with Andre Santos and Menu, and they have a Sesko at least as an initial target to get to his feet, that will help the team a lot more. It will also help Rashford a lot, right? because Rashford is another guy off the left. That's probably where he's most dangerous, but he needs to be able to play off someone. And if he has a number 9 that can't hold on to the ball much, or can't let it stick, then he struggles as well. So you've got that double whammy with Bruno and Rashford. I think we saw that situation so many times over the years where when Martial was out, because Martial was the guy who could do it a bit, or there were a few other guys, Ibra for a little bit, and but Martial was the guy who was there for the longest, right? Whereas when Højlund played up front, that's not his game really, like making it stick, right?
No.
So we always look so open, and I think this is the thing I want many fans to get. It's not just attacking wise that we suffer when we can't get Bruno and Rashford to function, in a natural game, and we don't have someone to hold up for them. It's defensively, because what happens is we're halfway up the pitch building an attack, and we lose the ball because we have no one to pass to, and the other team, they're starting their attack from their midfield instead of having to build up from their defense. So it just makes life so much easier.
Over the years, Man United have conceded so many goals like that. Like they've been quite bad, losing the ball in dangerous areas, and then before you know it, it's 4 attackers against 4 defenders, and conceded goals like that.
Exactly. I think this should be the starting place for us this season. Are there any of these changes that you would disagree with, or?
No, I think as long as everybody's fit, that is my starting lineup. What you just put, Mazraoui, Euro, Martin. So if the latest fit, then it's the latest.
Yes, exactly.
Euro, Martinez, Shaw, Menu, Santos, Fernandes, Ahmad, Rashford. Because in this team, if you compare that team to the team that was starting yesterday, there's players you can give the ball, like you can give Ahmad the ball, and he's confident the ball, and he doesn't need to make that cross. He doesn't need to cross the ball into the box. He can hold on to the ball. Manu can hold on to the ball. These guys in possession, they're comfortable. They don't need to release the ball until they want to release the ball.
Yeah,
and so
that's such a great point. I think Ahmad and Ahmad is another player who was getting a lot of criticism at the end of last season, right?
Yeah, very interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, he probably wasn't at his very best if compared to even during Amram. He was one of the few guys that was able to still play well, right? And that happens. But how important he is in terms of build-up play, in terms of us having more control in game, Man U fans vastly underestimate it. I think him and Menu are the 2 key players in terms of us having control in game. Another
thing that I realized, based on last season as well, with Ahmad, is that he was being criticised for not really taking players on, and a lot. I think there was a lot of criticism for just people just didn't like his performances. My opinion on that is, I believe that Ahmad was instructed to stay wide. I don't think it's his game. I don't think he's supposed to stay wide. I think he's somebody who should drift around the pitch. He should be able to pick up the ball whenever he wants to pick it up, because I think he's got the ability. He can hold on to it. If he wants to go past the man, he can go past the man. He can take it to the byline. He can, he's got so many aspects of his game. And I think if he's kept to the byline, of course, last season there was a lot of defenders as well that need to be on as well. But I think with him, someone like him, you lose a lot of his ability if you just keep him at the byline. He should be able to come and take the spaces. Again, I don't know to go talk about Bruno, but he should be able to take those spaces as well. There should be a better ability for him to for whatever reason it was last season. He wasn't able to do that.
So, I do agree with that. And then theoretically, if we had him coming inside and being able to link up a bit more, I think him having a Sesko type would also help with that. Because again, he can play off him, and then it would open this up for an overlap, which maybe Dallow's more suited to. I know Dallow didn't play a lot with Ahmad, but maybe then you bring in Dallow for Mazraoui in certain games. But it's all dependent. And as you said, De Ligt is someone who maybe could start for Euro. So these are the changes for me. That should be our base 11. But yeah, with the changes at right back, at right centre back, and also Belabor in certain games as well, maybe coming for Andrew Santos. These are the types of like changes where it should be okay. It's him or him playing. It's him or him playing. There's one other though that I would really like. Again, don't wanna seem like we're picking on Bruno, but in games, right, where we can't tactically find a way to give Bruno all he needs to be successful, he needs to come out of the team. It's as simple as that. I think Carrick does know that deep down. He talked about rotating Bruno in the press conference the other day. That was encouraging to me. And fans might just think, oh, he's Messi, he's all Messi or whatever. You're wrong if you think that. But also, the reason it's so important is if you can to sometimes play a Mount, and of course I know Mount has his injury problem. So this is us talking in an ideal world, right?
Yeah.
That's we're being hopeful here. But if we do have that, Mount, one of his best qualities is receiving the ball, in my opinion, in those higher areas when he's under pressure. He's actually quite good at doing that, similar to Odegaard.
Yeah.
Receiving in the right body position. And it might not be a cut through ball that follows as soon as he picks up the ball, but that's fine. That's not always what you need. Sometimes you need that recycling. I think it helps someone like Rashford as well get the ball in higher areas. If you can delay, have a Mount somewhere here, delay. It allows Menu to join him up the pitch at times. All the pieces start to connect a bit better. So we shouldn't be afraid to take Bruno out in certain games this season. Even in yesterday's game, the choice to move him further back when we brought on Menu and have Menu and Bruno in midfield, I don't think that worked particularly well, and I don't want to see Carrick continuing to do that. If he's scared to take out Bruno, then we don't have a chance of competing this season, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. Yeah. I think one of again, I don't want to sound like I'm not against Bruno Fernandes. I see that he has a lot of good traits, but I think one of the problems that we've had over the years is that we've had managers that are unwilling to, because for all the good that he does, there are a lot of games where he doesn't do anything. Yeah, and I think it would help the team. That's another one. Like the team to the narrative that Bruno has. He needs to get the ball. He needs somebody good enough to get him the ball, which then he now feeds to somebody else.
Right.
That you can't base your season. You can't base your season on that style of football. That doesn't make any sense. Everybody needs to be able to play their part, and it can't just be one guy dominating. Not even the goals. It's one guy dominating the assists.
Yeah.
So it's I think Mason Mount, of course, he's always unfit. Maybe we can, at some point we can switch to a 4-3-3, or we can try a different style.
And it doesn't have to be Mount. It could be Tielemans as well. By the way,
for sure. That's
the good there a lot as well.
That's the good thing about Tielemans. I think Tielemans would be quite good in that position as well. Yeah. And I think he's less likely to lose the ball than a Bruno would be, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. What I would say, if Bruno is in the team, and whether it's Belabor or Santos next to Menu's the key. The best situation is to have Sesko, as mentioned. And we can play very competitive transitional football, end-to-end counter-attacking football in this lineup. Yeah. And that's what we're gonna want to do. I think that's the idea with Carrick. I don't think he wants us to necessarily be, tiki-taka or anything like that. I don't think that's his thinking. But we just have to be realistic about what's possible with the players on the pitch. If we do want to go a bit more short passing focus in certain games, then yes, you take out Bruno. And if you do take out Bruno, maybe Cunha as a striker works a bit better.
Yeah.
And we go 4-3-3. Let's say Santos rather than Belabor just for this exercise, because I think him as a deep piece, it works really well. And then in this system where you have Cunha maybe dropping and you don't have a number 10 in his space, so they're not like getting on top of each other.
Yeah.
That then, if you are going to play an Mbeumo, as you mentioned,
Yeah,
that works well.
And maybe when Rashford will both benefit in this.
Exactly.
Especially in the end-to-end game, when you have them as runners on either side, it's going to cause issues for the defense. But especially when we're not expected to hold on to the ball for most of the game. So yeah, I mean, we have a lot of options. It doesn't have to be one way with Man United. I think that's the best part about our squad.
Yeah,
we should be able to adapt to different situations.
And what could be the best thing about yesterday happening, if it wasn't already in Carrick's mind, is he sees that was an example of one combination that's not going to work.
Yeah,
Andre Santos, Tielemans, and Bruno together, I don't think it's going to work in pretty much any Premier League game, unless the team just sits back and allows us to completely play without putting any pressure onto us physically or anything like that.
Yeah.
In most games, it's just not going to be ideal. So he needs to get the combinations right game to game.
Yeah.
Pick Bruno in the right game. Pick Andre Santos in the right game. Pick Baleba in the right games.
Yeah.
And then I'm positive about this season, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. If there's one thing we need to focus on before the end of the transfer window, then, you know, with the links heavily with the left back, is there anything that you would really like that, I don't know if yesterday or just even thinking we're missing?
No, I think left back, Luke Shaw, defensively, I trust Luke Shaw. It's just the getting up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thinking candidate. You might need some support, especially with the amount of games you have this season. I think he definitely needs some competition. I do like Amas, and I think Amas will get some games, but I think if we can sign another option, who, like you say, with our capabilities and our we have a lot of combinations that we can have. We're very versatile. With our versatile squad, I think we would benefit having another left back who can get forward up the pitch, like you say. And if Cunha is on the left, we can have somebody that can support Cunha on the left hand side of the pitch.
Yeah.
If
we don't sign a left back, I would be interested in seeing Dogu tried in that position as well for certain games as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I do think linking up with Rashford or Cunha, he might have a little bit more success than currently. But yeah, let us know your thoughts about any of the tactical tweaks we've discussed this season. I think we're still positive. Have you lost all hope about Man U season? You let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video.